Welcome to the Good Place Marionville Podcast, dedicated to highlighting the good right here in Marionville, Missouri.
Today's episode will continue our commitment to showcase the goodness in Marionville, uniting our community through shared stories of hope and optimism. So let's cover some of the good this week.
You know, we're just a few short weeks away from the election. A sample ballot with all the details regarding voting earlier are all available on the county website. And Martha said she'll put the link in the show notes for everyone's convenience. And yes, I'm saying Martha's doing it because I don't know how to do that. You could also go to lawrencecountymo.org for more information.
You know, Jim, let's just talk for a minute about the importance of showing up at the polls. Why is it so important for everybody to vote?
Well, if you don't vote, what happens is your fault. Every vote counts. You never know when your vote will be the deciding vote. We've been given the freedom in this country to vote for our elected officials. And if you don't take that opportunity to have that freedom, one day you could lose that freedom. We live in a constitutional republic, which means we all have a vote that counts, and you need to have your vote that counts. Get to the polls on November 5th or vote before then. We need your vote. Vote your values. That's what's most important.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. You know, I'm really excited because today we have a very special guest from the Ozark Methodist Manor. Wayne Rainey is here as the executive director of the Manor. As the locals call it, they just say the Manor, and everybody knows what we're talking about. So, Wayne, welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast.
Hey, thank you for inviting me, Jim and Martha.
Well, we're excited to have you. Today, we're going to help the good people of Marionville get to know you better, Wayne, and to learn more about the Manor. I saw online that the tagline for the Manor is a tradition of caring since 1925. That's pretty exciting because it means next year you turn 100 years old. You don't look a day over 60. So Wayne, to get to know you personally, tell us about your family.
Well, I'm married to my wife, Marita. We've been married 35 years. We have 6 adult children. 2 are married, and we have 6 grandchildren with 2 on the way next year in 2025. So we're pretty excited.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a big family.
It is a big family.
So how long have you worked at the Ozark Methodist Manor?
Since July 2021.
And it seems longer, apparently, the way you said it, since July 2021, but it feels like 10 years already. All right. What did you do before you came to the Manor?
Words in his mouth, Jim.
Well, I worked in long-term care, senior living for about 42 years. And so that's maybe why I went back to 6 since 2021. So it's been a long time. Love it. And it's exciting.
So what was it about the Manor that drew you in and wanting to lead it?
I think the idea, I took a 2-year sabbatical away from long-term care, and I looked at the opportunity to work here. I knew a board member, and the fact that it was a nonprofit was so exciting for me because most of my life was living in or working in a corporate setting. So this was just a great opportunity for me.
So culture is pretty important too. We got a chance to talk about a lot at Applefest as we sit next to each other in the Lions Club booth. Why do you put an emphasis on cultural change?
Well, cultural change means that we want to be careful about how we develop our staff, how we interact with our residents, engaging with them, and the fact that we really don't like the world to influence us in this faith-based community. We really want to be able to influence the community outward, if that makes any sense.
Sure. So what's your dream for the Manor? Are there more changes coming?
Yeah, we're hoping to really develop the staff in a spiritual way. As a faith-based organization, we're looking at Bible studies and scripture of the day and just really getting into God's word.
Okay, so I'm going to have a little fun in the area of change. I don't know. I might suggest maybe that you paint the dining room. Anybody suggested that to you? Is there possibly?
You know, as a matter of fact, there's a young lady that's on our activity programming, Renee Lawrence, and she has just recently submitted a plan to update. And we're getting it on a list together with maintenance and getting that on a schedule. So
I love that. And I don't want to diminish the spiritual change that you see happening, but it's just a little fun, you know, knowing that. And I just want to thank you. Shout out to Renee. She has been a resource for us here at the Good Place Marionville podcast. So I had to give her a little bit of credit there because she's been so helpful to us. So
she is an amazing.
I can't wait to see what color you pick up.
I was in the dining room. I thought the color was fine. But
well,
I was looking at
we don't go there every day to eat like
no,
some
we
people.
don't. We don't.
So-
All right. So working here in Marionville is giving you some good routines. I hear you eat tacos on Tuesdays with residents.
Yes.
And I know you just joined the Lions Club, which means lunch with the Lions every other Wednesday or the second and fourth Wednesday at Alice Irene's at noon. Do you have any days where you don't have lunch already planned?
I would say I try to eat in-house as much as I can to spend time with the residents. So I'm full.
That's awesome. Well, and we're going to talk about this a little later today. You had a chili cook-off today, so I'm sure that was your lunchtime today. So I was talking with a native Marionvilleite, I think that's what you call them, right? The other day, and
I don't really know.
She was reminiscing about the fact that everybody in our generation either worked at the Dairy Crest or has had a job at the Manor. And true to that statement, you employ a lot of people today. How many employees do you guys have?
We have 95 full-time and part-time staff.
And that is a lot of people to manage, and getting to influence that culture is huge. So on that subject of numbers, let's talk about the residents. How many total residents do you have?
We serve about 155 residents.
Wow.
Plus another 100 family members.
So what do you mean? 155 residents and 100 family members. What do you mean?
We interact with family members that come to visit residents. And so we want to have a great relationship with them. So I count them as a person or people that are very valuable to our organization.
It's interesting that you say the word valuable and, just this relationship conversation, because I heard even in the last week or so, you've had some major milestones with birthdays. Someone turned 102 and someone else is turning 101. Do you get to eat cake with them?
Of course. It's so exciting to hear these stories of nostalgia and history of Marionville, especially. Yeah, we had 2 recent residents and it was very fun, and we engaged with their family.
Mm-hmm. So they're older than the manor itself.
Just barely. All right. So but not as old as the Teachers College, because that came before that.
Right.
All right. So there's several different types of housing for people to live at the manor. Why don't you take a minute to break it down for us? Because I'm not sure that everyone listening knows what all the manor offers to our community.
Well, we start off with the idea that we have cottage homes available to the community at large. They're independent. They're considered independent living. And so residents can lease or buy into the programming of the community. And there are 58 houses listed. And then we have level of care, which is residential care. And that is where residents need minimal care, minimal assistance with their activities of daily living. So we serve about 32 of those residents, or we have 32 apartments, I should say. And then, of course, we have the skilled nursing facility with 78 beds, but we operate about 60 residents in the nursing home.
Okay. And does the nursing home also include then the memory care?
Yes, it's included. Okay. We have an 18-bed memory care unit, which is specialized for dementia, Alzheimer's residents. And so it takes a special gifted person to be able to work in that environment.
Yes.
It sure does.
I just want people to hear that. I mean, I've met so many people that live in the independent living and they've moved there rather young. And I love that idea of being there, knowing you're going to be there, getting your community and the people around you. You guys have so much to offer there. It's fantastic. So when you were talking about activities, there is a lot happening at the manor this fall. And I had no idea how busy you all keep. So we're going to read through this list rapid fire in order to give all of our listeners a better peek into what is going on at the manor.
All right. This summer included things like gardening, hosting cookouts, luau's, homemade ice cream socials, and more. For fall, they've had Chiefs preseason tailgate party in August, a talent show on Grandparents' Day, a root beer float social from Missouri Good Neighbor Week, participated in Apple Fest and the Apple Fest Parade, just to name a few fall activities.
And yesterday, if anyone saw a horse and carriage around town, well, that was the manor too. I saw them and I really felt like I was missing out on something. So I was loving to know that it was them. The annual Fall Fest Chili Cook-Off happened today, and tomorrow they head to Pick and Patch for a hayride. Next week, they're going to go pick out pumpkins for students to carve and to decorate the grounds. They have fall drives in order to see leaves, restaurants, baseball and football games, concerts, stained glass theater, and this month, an outing scheduled at Branson for the Praise Fest. Besides Halloween parties, the Marionville Elementary School students will do a Halloween parade, and they'll have trick-or-treaters, too.
But I want to know who won the chili cook-off. Do you know?
One of our housekeepers won that, and she...
Well, give her a shout out.
Shondell, congratulations. You're amazing.
All right, there you go.
That's awesome.
And Shondell, we'll take a bowl of that chili down here at Central Place. You drop it by anytime you'd like. All right. They're also planning a Veterans Day event with the Junior ROTC and will place a missing man table to recognize the veterans that are no longer with us. Wayne, there's also something lovingly referred to as the sweatshop. Tell us about that.
Well, I love telling this story because we have 8 to 10 amazing ladies from our cottage homes, and they get together one to two times a week and get together and have fellowship and fun, as well as sewing and
they're quilting, right?
The quilting aspects, and they have impacted our community in such a way internally where that they have provided, I believe, approximately 150 handmade quilts to place on the nursing home bed that residents are able to warm up to. But they're so individualized and amazing. And just to see when you give a tour or families come in, they're so caught off guard with that and not having an institutional blanket. Mm-hmm. So it's the camaraderie is amazing, but it just instills so much pride in our community residents on all levels.
I know when we did a tour, we saw the room where they do the sewing, and they were so kind. They were like, come on back, come be a part of our quilting. So it's so wonderful. But we should not forget to mention the Manor Thrift Shop. They are open on Thursdays from 9 to 12 and 1 to 3. And this is open to the community. And this is a great place to shop. Wayne, I hope that you know the answer to this. How do people donate items to the thrift shop? Do you know?
There is a contact person, Mary Napier, that is available to us, and we can just reach out to her at her number or the facility number.
Okay, I'll put the facility number in our show notes for people. I know I did talk to Stephanie today, and she was saying, we really, our desire is for things in the small home decor, small kitchen appliances like toasters and crock pots, that kind of thing, that people can move around. They're not a major place for taking like a whole set of clothing of somebody's, but it is a great place. Get involved and go there and do some of your shopping.
Okay, now one last thing. Every time we've mentioned the Manor in Marionville to people, if they've had any experience with them, it's been so positive. They say things like, my family member was so well taken care of, or how nice their apartment or home were. Wayne, what kinds of things have you heard when you talk to people about their experience at the Manor?
Well, again, I feel it's very, very positive. And I think the things that excites people about our facility that's unique is that we individualize the care that each resident needs in the two levels. We're licensed in the residential care side as well as the skilled side, but we provide resident-driven care, which makes it unique. Facilities are required to gear their homes to that level, but I think our core staff make it so positive. I hear lots of positive things about the Manor. And of course, we're not perfect. We always are addressing issues and processes, so that makes us relevant to the families. We have an open door policy. We have managers that have been there for a combined 200 years of experience and knowledge, and I think that just sets us up for success as a core staff.
I hear the word care a lot, and I think that that's really important. That's what the community is hearing as well. But I also know, hearing all of those activities and events, I'm tired. And so I just love all that is happening there.
Wayne, we're so grateful. Thanks for letting us know about you a little bit more and to know a lot more about the Ozark Methodist Manor. We're so blessed to have this gem of a community in our town. Now hang tight while we share a little more good news around town.
Alrighty, Comet Band News, also from Renee. She shared this with me. This last Saturday, the band was in a competition at Mountain Grove, and the band placed first in class for general effect and second in class for the color guard. The band will be in another competition this weekend in Carthage.
The volleyball team took second place at the Pleasant Hope tournament on Saturday. They're now 27-3-1. That's from Crystal Stafford.
Wow. In first responder news, I think everybody knows that it's windy and dry out there, but please take extra precautions this fall as we wait for the rain and help prevent fires. You know, Jim, we mention almost every week that the volunteer fire department needs more volunteers. Can you just take a moment to encourage our listeners to consider getting involved?
Your community needs you. If you can walk, talk, maybe lift 20 or 30 pounds, you can help us out in the fire department. We need people that are here during the day and here during the night that can help respond. We will partner you up with an experienced firefighter in order to be able to learn how to respond to fires, respond to medical. Sometimes it's just responding to help somebody get back up off the ground. We just need your help. Would you please consider going to City Hall, filling out an application? We need you. Our firefighters have been part of the department for years. In fact, most of them over a decade, except for me. And they just need some extra help because at night, it's always nice to have a couple people that can respond.
That's awesome. So on Saturday, we had a blast at the Pickleball Warehouse with the City of Hope event that was hosted by the Marionville Ministerial Alliance. It was such a beautiful day.
A little hot, actually.
Oh, I thought it was beautiful.
Okay.
Families came out for cakewalks, for free food, for free haircuts, for raffles. There was a truck and car show. The fire station was there with fire trucks. And yes, even Sparky the fire dog was there. If you watched last week's show, you saw him here as my guest. He played pickleball and he got a haircut. I want to thank Todd Wright from Alpha Realty for sending actually a Marionville real estate report. This is fascinating. So thank you, Todd. There are currently 8 properties for sale, 33.3% increase month to month in that area. The average list price is $145,400 and the average square foot price is $130.
September sold listings, 6 properties sold, median sale price of $208,000, average of $172 per square foot. Listings are currently selling at 97.88% of list price. Thank you, Todd Wright, for sharing this real estate report with our listeners.
Today's podcast episode is sponsored by the Bank of Billings.
We just shared the real estate report in Marionville. Most home buyers are looking for a loan to finance their new home.
The Bank of Billings is proud to offer their customers 2 full-service locations to assist you in your lending needs. Both of their locations in Billings and Marionville have full-time lenders which are experienced in consumer, commercial, agricultural, and real estate lending.
Call or stop by one of their convenient locations to discuss your lending needs. They'll be happy to assist you. And of course, all loans are subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. We're grateful to the Bank of Billings for their community support through sponsoring this Good Place Marionville podcast.
All right, so there are a couple more events we want to list for happening around town. October 20th from 1 to 5 is the 6th annual Sunday Family Fun Day trunk or treat and the car show with a costume contest and
Super
booths.
easy for you to say.
No, it was not. That was really a mouthful, Valerie. I'm going to have to talk to you about that one. But booths, games, raffles, and a little something for everyone in the family. This event is hosted by the Coleman Vault and the Marionville Preservation and Historic Society.
Word of Life is hosting a trunk or treat event on Thursday, October 31st. That'd be Halloween night from 6 to 8 p.m. in the church parking lot near the Old Apple Market. Costumes are encouraged and the event is free.
All right, it's time to wrap up this episode of the Good Place Marionville podcast. There was a lot of details. I hope you caught it all and share it with a friend. A very special thank you goes out to our sponsor at the Bank of Billings for showing your support for the good happening here. Consider becoming a sponsor by contacting us at goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com.
Thank you to each of you for doing good in Marionville. We know it's contagious. And another thank you to each of you that contributed good news to this week's episode. It's easy to report. Just send an email to goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com or call 417-677-8167.
Thank you for joining us for the Good Place Marionville podcast. Keep your eyes out for the good, and together we can celebrate Marionville.